Hello and welcome to the Heresy Lodge. I'm your host, Dylan Cooper, the constant co-host over here.
Gavin Franklin.
Guys, we are here this week to do a part of a review of The Silent War,
Yes.
the anthology we bitched about last time.
Yes. Dylan has a much lighter viewpoint of this anthology. I'm much more negative. Although they did have my favorite line ever discussed, ever said in any Horse Heresy novel. It was my favorite line by far.
It was a good line. I actually chuckled.
Yes. So I think we also have some Warhammer drama as well. So it'll be a good episode. There's a lot of cool stuff going on.
Yep, so just a heads up, we will not be going through the entire book today. Gavin has not finished, so
My bad. My bad.
probably have some filler. Worst case scenario, it'll be fine.
Yeah,
But
I'm impressed, genuinely impressed with how well we've kept up with each other. Like I have passed you by a book and a half at one point, and now you're past me by a third of a book. It's like back and forth.
yeah, man, yesterday I was just sitting in my hotel room and was like, I gotta finish this book. Holy shit.
I remember like thinking about starting this podcast, and my biggest concern was I hope Dylan can read.
I never knew if he could. It's fair enough. Before we get into the book, though, got a few things. We have our housekeeping BS, which is we will be doing a giveaway here on our 100th episode. To give away a GW gift certificate. In order to get involved in that, all you have to do is interact with us. Hit us up on the Discord, Twitter, which is at Heresy Lodge. You can find our Discord pinned to the top of that. On YouTube, like, subscribe, leave us a comment. Email us at theheresylodge@gmail.com. We also do have tips enabled. I mean, if you tip, you probably get like extra entries. I don't fucking know. I'm a sellout.
Yeah, we'll tip. We'll change the scale a little bit. So what are you drinking today, sir?
So I got a couple, I think, throwbacks. I'm pretty sure I had this one. I got back from the airport today, so I did not stop by and get any more. But my first one is Laguntis.
Goodness.
Disorderly Tea House. It is sparkling spiked lemon tea type of deal. It's fine. And my other one is Red Stripe.
Red Stripe. Nice. I have actually been sick Monday and Tuesday this week. Feeling a lot better. It's kind of weird because typically when I get sick, I get very sick. This was just like weirdly mild.
Yeah,
Um,
everyone's like allergies have been super bad.
yeah, like
Last week.
this week has been like I had like a headache, real sore muscles, but no fever. So I was like fine. I just felt like shit. So I've been drinking a lot of tea. So I've got the hot toddy back. Um, I feel like it's a good sick drink. But yeah,
Yeah,
so this one I got it in the Heresy Lodge mug.
nice choice. So,
So
had some Warhammer drama.
let's talk about Warhammer drama. I'm so excited to talk about this. I've never been more excited to talk about Warhammer drama because I have not one but two Warhammer drama stories to tell
Oh, I'm ready.
you. Went to a tournament last weekend in a really small town. Now, I like smaller town tournaments. Sometimes it's like a hit or miss thing. It gives me good training, which is good. But typically they're smaller. This was a 6-person tournament. That's okay. I'll go play my first game, get lunch at some random dive bar. Literally went to this like random dive bar for lunch, and a guy came up and just started. Him and his wife were talking to me for about 45 minutes because anytime you go to these smaller tournaments, they're normally put on by a few older guys that will definitely take an hour and a half for lunch because they don't want to be rushed, which is so different than going to like a GT where they're like, you got 15 minutes to shove that sandwich down your throat.
You better like that sandwich. Man,
So
this is I'm just gonna like derail you for just a second. When I was in Dallas, my hotel had a bar in it. I was just sitting there, and I started talking to the girl next to me. She was from Cincinnati. She's like midway conversation, like completely irrelevant. She goes, "Yeah, so since my husband died, I was like, I don't know how to continue this conversation." that was a random thing to say. I'm sorry your
Alright.
husband died, but this
Rough.
I don't know what to do. I think I'm gonna pay my tab now.
Dylan, you are so awkward.
What the fuck are
You
you
are
supposed
so
to
awkward.
answer? Like,
Was there
yeah.
context to it?
No. We were talking about how she was like gonna be moving to Dallas soon. And she's just like slipped in that her fucking husband died like 5 years ago. I was like, shit.
I don't know what to say, but
Here there
I'm
is.
sure there was there was a path in that conversation.
Yeah, what's up?
Without
Nothing. My husband died. Oh God.
well, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. Pay my tab.
I don't know how to continue this conversation. Blessed
So,
day. Yeah. Anyway.
start the tournament. First round, I get matched up against the Dark Angels, and it's 40 Terminators. So, for guys that are unfamiliar with the game, that's like a direct counter to what I take. Like 100%. Like I'm doing the math. I've done the math multiple times. There's like no way that I win that. And I once saw a Tau player beat a 40-man Terminator block, and after playing it, I questioned the validity of that person's game. Essentially, what the Terminators have is a special rule that you only wound on 4s permanently. They have permanent transhuman across their entire army.
Jesus, that's nice.
Well, yeah, it is nice, but it's really nice against the Tau, who will all their strength is strength 5 or higher. So everything in my army is -1 to wound or -2 to wound, which is pretty often. All my big guns, I take a lot. So my hammerheads did nothing because they needed 4s to wound. So that was rough, and they got saves against my hammerhead. So that was tough matchup. I think that they had 40 Terminators. Turn 1, I got to go first. They put them all out in the open. They're like, I don't give a shit. Shoot at me. Killed 3.
Was it 10-man block?
Yeah, 2. No, it was like 7 5-man blocks. It was just so rough. So rough. Yeah, so that was a fine game. Nothing crazy happened in that game. Came back from lunch, went against Death Guard. Let me fucking tell you. This guy cheated so much in this game. So,
please tell me more.
oh my gosh. So he definitely did the cheat of making up rules for his army. And the amount of rules he made up were just absurd because I do not play Death Guard. I'm currently collecting Death Guard. I just don't have anything put together or painted or any army put together. It's just kind of been like a little side project of really both of ours. So I came home the next day and I was kind of like tipped off, like, is this really a thing? Is this really a thing? And I was looking it up. None of it was. None of it was a thing.
Was it like somewhat a thing, but like they were just like maybe just not that phase or something?
Nope.
Oh, so it couldn't have been like misinterpretation. It was just literally
Nope.
made up.
Literally made up. I don't know if like maybe now I don't think this is the case because I'll explain something later at the end too that just nails in the coffin like how terrible this was. But it's possible, but I don't think he was like accidentally basing it off of 7th edition. But I don't know. I don't think so.
7th edition?
Or sorry, 8th edition. 8th
Okay.
edition. I'm going back.
Yeah, 4th edition actually.
Now, if anybody knows that these rules exist, I'm sorry. Let me know. Let me know where to find them because I have Death Guard Codex. I've looked through it many times. I can't find it. Now,
Did you check the FAQ maybe?
check the FAQ. Death Guard FAQ is like 4 lines. There's nothing changed. I checked the balanced data slate. All it does is give their Terminators OBSEC. So there is, I do want to point this out too. There is a what's called a Regiment of Renown for Death Guard that gives them access to various other things. But in order to have that regiment around, you cannot take vehicles. And he had 3 vehicles in his army. He had 2 flesh mowers and a Redemptor Dread. I don't know, one of the like Chaos Dreads. I can't remember the name of all the damn dreadnoughts. So that's not because a couple of the rules did come from there, but not all of them. None of them. Some of them just don't exist at all.
That's even better. I'm gonna start making up rules for Grey Knights.
Oh, wait till you hear about the rules this guy made up. Okay. His Poxwalkers. He had 45 poxwalkers. Poxwalkers in the book move 4 inches. Guess how far his poxwalkers moved?
8.
7. Now,
Interesting.
that is actually a thing in their army of renown, but he did not take that because he couldn't. Poxwalkers have a 7-up save and a 6-up feel no pain. Okay? His Poxwalkers had a 6-up invold, a 6-up feel no pain, and a 6-up stand back up.
What?
Yes. 2 of those were made up. So he just like literally anytime he took damage, he just rolled a dice 3 times. If any of them were 6s, they got to live. Where in reality, you only get to roll a 1.
What was it going through your head during this?
I was like, well, I know Poxwalkers are durable, I guess.
You've played against Death Guard before, haven't you, though?
I actually haven't really killed Poxwalkers. I have played against that card. Now this is where things started to get real suspicious to me. So I was like, Tau murder Death Guard. It's so easy to beat Death Guard as Tau because you just say, I'm just gonna stand back here and you're gonna lose your army turn 3 max.
Yeah, because they can't fucking do anything.
They can't get
Slow
to
as
you.
fuck.
Yeah, well, wait till you hear the extra stuff he did to get. So, yeah, so that was the Poxwalkers. They get normally Poxwalkers get 2 attacks. He got 4 attacks for his Poxwalkers.
Interesting.
Really strange. So that's one unit that he completely lied about. So yeah, it took me like I unloaded some burst cannons, I unloaded a devilfish, I unloaded a 10-man squad of breachers within 8 inches of them, and just didn't kill them.
I was imagining you saying, I was like, man, I heard they were durable, but what the fuck? There's no way.
Honestly, I was like, it's fine, it's whatever. So he drops his Death Shroud out of Deep Strike. Okay.
25-inch movement.
Did you know that he has a psychic power that gives him +2 to charge? Because no other Death Guard player did.
Not a single one.
Nobody knew that. And then he also has a strat that he can roll charges on 3d6. That's not a thing.
Does the Death Guard have any psychers?
Yes.
Psychic
Actually, Death Guard kind of have to take psychers unless they take multiple attachments. Because their Demon Princes are psychers, Mortarian's a psycher, Typhus is a psycher, they have a psycher. And then the other HU choice that's not a psycher, limited to 1 per detachment. So he has a strat that lets him roll charges on 3d6. He gets +2 to his charge. Also, he consolidates 3 + d3. None of this.
Heard that before.
None of this is a thing. Not a single one of these rules. I can't find it anywhere. And what's so funny about this, what's so crazy, is like I have a strat that minuses 2 to your charge. I use that strat. Death Guard, and I didn't know this because I don't know Death Guard, they ignore all modifiers to charges. So I'm like, why didn't you, like, that's a big deal. Like, you wouldn't, but he was treating it like, okay, -2, and he would -2 his charge. I thought that was so weird, which is probably why he came up with these +2 to charge, like psychic powers and all that stuff. So, yeah, that was fun. His Flail Corruptions did 3 damage, not 2, which is great because my commander minuses 1 damage, and he killed them. He killed my commander with 4 Terminators. And I did the math on that, and there's like a 3% chance that happens. Like if I missed all my fails and he rolls really high, there's like a 3% chance that happens. So that was awesome. Trying to think of other things that this dude did. It was just terrible. At one point in time, I know for a fact too, like he rolled some dice for a charge, and he was like, "Oh, that gets me in," and like moved while I was away from the table, and I came back and I'm like, he's like, "Yeah, I rolled an 8. 8 gets me there." I was 18 inches away from him, and they moved 5. So I don't know like where, because if he moved, that would be 13, and even with the 2-inch engagement rule from the wall, 8 doesn't do it. I don't know where he was getting 8 works, but he got in and he get like charged my Riptide with a 3d6 plus 2 to charge, rolled that 8, got in. So yeah, that was
double the attacks, double
yeah,
your strength, double
so
the
much
damage.
fun. So much fun. Yeah, so that was the thing. I looked it up afterwards. I was like, Jesus Christ. And with the nail in the coffin, no. There was a guy there that was a Chaos Space Marines player that was very good. He ended up getting like 20th at Nova and then just left because he had to go do something. So he didn't play all of his games. So he probably could have gotten a little bit higher. But yeah, I thought he was very good. He's a little choke guy. I did not play against him though. So one player other than a Necron player did play against. But yeah, that was the nail in the coffin for this guy. I have Tau, right? At one point in time, so he does a few things. This is what really makes me question him, right? There were a few strats he used that were global strats, like cut them down and dense. So he was confused about dense cover. He thought that if I shot through dense, it's -1 to hit and +1 to his save. I'm like, no, you don't get +1 to your save from dense. He's like arguing with me about it. I'm like, so we looked it up. It's not what happens, obviously.
Okay.
Then he tries to use cut them down. It's like, oh, it's the amount of your models I'm engaged with. I'm like, no, it's the amount of your models that are engaged. And he's like arguing with about that. And it turned out to be correct. And his
throwing her dick on the table now.
his demon prince. I shoot him with the Riptide. Not the Riptide, sorry, the Hammerhead. So it ignores invulns. And he's like, well, my demon prince is infantry. So I get a 6-up save because he has cover. Not true. Demon princes are not infantry. The demon prince would have just died, but he rolled a 6. So yeah, so lots of things that should have died, things that should have happened. He went and charged my plan with his demon prince because his demon prince was modeled with wings. I looked at his list later.
That wings.
Didn't have wings, so he couldn't charge plane, but he did. So yeah, that was fun. End of the game, Dylan. You know what this guy does? Know what he says? Oh, and during the game, this is important too. I go to shoot in combat with my battle suits in my shooting phase because battle suits can't shoot in combat. They're not vehicles. I'm like, yeah, battle suits have the ability to shoot in combat now in 9th edition. And he was like, show that to me. That's not a thing. It's like, okay. So I showed him the rule that allowed battle suits to shoot in combat. At the end of the game, this guy says, I play Tau. I've won 3 tournaments in the past 4 months with Tau. I'm like, how the fuck are you doing that if you don't know battle suits can shoot in combat?
Making up their rules too.
Yeah, I mean, if you just like make up rules and then he tries to tell me like things I need to change about my list and things I need to do, and I'm like, oh, this guy. And he was telling me like the best unit in Tau are fire warriors, Dylan. They're fire warriors. Not breachers. I should be taking a bunch of fire warriors.
Yeah, man. Or what, like tough 3.
4-up save.
Are what? 12 inches, 18 inches.
The weapons get up to 36.
Go. What is like? Get up to AP2.
I think it's 36. I don't even know. I don't know. It might be 24. 24, 12. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. But yeah, it was a very bad game. I'm very upset about that because I'm like, dude, you're just doing yourself a disservice. I can't wait to go back and play him again so I can call him on everything.
Bring the Death Guard Codex with you.
Exactly. You're like, so
I don't remember reading that.
I'm going through this here and everything you're doing is a complete lie. Because yeah, I faced Death Guard before, and most of the time, like I faced a Death Guard player here in Lexington. He was a very good player. And he's just like, man, Death Guard's natural enemy is Tau, and I think that's very true. Like Mortarion, you're screwed if they have hammerheads. If you have, like, literally, it's just a great counter. So, yeah, that was a weird one. But it's not as bad as the second story I'm about to tell you.
Is the tabletop one?
Tabletop Simulator. Oh my gosh. So I did talk about this a little bit in our Discord, and I do stand by this. I would rather play against a cheater than somebody who is just an awful opponent, like somebody I just don't want to play against. Even in the game where the guy was cheating, I was enjoying the game because I'm playing my stuff. This was just rough. He made it to where I didn't want to be there. So, story starts with him looking for a game in the channel where on Tabletop Simulator, you go and post, hey, I'm looking for a competitive game. So I message him and I'm like, hey, like I'll play a competitive game. Don't hear back from him for about like 15 minutes. So I was like, okay, well, he's not going to play any more games. Finally messaged me back. He's like, hey, sorry, dealing with a dog. If you're still down to play, I'll play. I'm like, sure. Another 10 minutes go by, and he finally gets into the room. It's like 25 minutes so far since the point I messaged him. He gets on the call, and he's like, yeah, sorry, just dealing with my dog. Immediately starts yelling at his dog, like his dog did something. He's like, oh, what the hell are you doing? And just leaves, but his mic is still on. He doesn't turn his mic off. So for another 10 minutes, I'm listening to this dude deal with his dog. And I'm like, okay, like that's fine. Shit happens. Whatever. He comes back. It's like, yeah, sorry, I just fucking picked this dog up 2 hours ago from the pound. You're shitting all over my bathroom.
Not on the movie. Take your fucking dog outside.
What the fuck? He's like, it's the dog's scared to go outside because it's a pound dog. And it's just like the way
That makes no
he's like
sense.
saying this. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why did you think that this was a good time to sit down and play a game of Warhammer?
Yeah, it's gonna take at least a couple hours.
Like you just got a dog today and you want to go play Warhammer? So literally he's telling me the story and then all of a sudden you're, what the fuck? And he just goes away again. This time it's like 15 minutes. I'm waiting 15 minutes. The dude still yelling in the background of his dog. Again, didn't turn his mic off. Finally, I'd message him and I'm like, hey, let's do this some other time. You kind of seem to have your hands full, so we'll just do it some other time. So I leave. Immediately, he posts in the 40K looking for another competitive game. And I'm thinking to myself, like, this dude is definitely fucking trolling. Like, there is no way that this guy's actually looking for a game. And what I think is so funny is no one is responding to him.
They already
So,
know.
yeah, like this guy, he's a menace. No one wants to play a game, but like they've known. So there was another guy. I'm kind of in a pickle now because he just posted looking for a game. I'm gonna look like a real asshole if I also post right after him looking for a game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I find somebody that was looking for a game before him. Wait 10 minutes. He finally responds. Asks me, "What army are you bringing?" Cannot stand when people ask that question. If you're especially when we're posting in competitive, if you're doing something like looking for a fun game, you can ask what army you're playing or like you're a beginner. But if you're going into competitive 40K, I hate it. Anytime you're playing on Facebook, anytime you're playing on TTS, they say, well, what army are you bringing? Like they're doing one of two things. They're trying to like tailor their list, or they just don't want to play against certain armies, which I'm like, tough shit. Like that's the game. But I tell them, like, I'm fine, whatever. So I'm like, oh, I'm playing Tau. And I hate it because that makes me hate it. Until Leagues of Votan come out, and then I'm gonna not be the bad guy anymore. Tower just like, they're not even that powerful anymore. Like they're pretty like okay. But yeah.
Someone brings like Tyranids as one.
Yeah. But no, people like Tyranids. I literally do not have an army I do not like playing against. Except for Custodes. I fucking hate Custodes.
All those 4-up saves on you.
Oh my god. But yeah, so this guy was like, well, I don't really want to play against Tau because I'm trying to learn my Harlequins. Well, like, don't
I feel like
post.
Harlequins should be good into Tau. They're fast.
They're phenomenal. They have the highest win rate against Tau.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, so I don't know what this
getting in front of you.
Finally, I just go back. I post looking for a game. The fucking dog guy reaches out to me. He's like, "Hey man, hey man, my dog's put up. I'm totally ready to play a game now." And I was thinking to myself, like, "Do I fucking do this? Do I fucking do this? Like, fine, fuck it, let's do it. Let's go."
It's been an hour at this point.
Yeah. So he joins the call. Just a fucking rude motherfucker, man. It was so terrible. Burps on into his mic multiple times. which is so annoying. Like I don't like on purpose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He cusses like constantly, which is fine. It's just it gets really annoying. He asked me for the server information because you make a game with a server and password, and I send it to him. I was like, "Yeah, I just sent it to you in the chat." He's like, oh, "Come on, dude, do you really have to make this like fucking hard?" I'm like, "That's actually how he talks too." I'm like, what do you mean?" He's like, "Can't you just tell it to me?" I'm like, okay. So I start telling it to him. He's like, "Gosh, like why can't you like change your stuff to something easier?" I'm like, "Dude,
You only
it's
make all your shit test.
yeah, it's like test." I'm like, "How is that like fucking hard?"
Look, man, I'm a developer. This is what we do.
Yeah, I was like, "All right, I'm gonna change it for you." He can't find it. He's getting so frustrated. So finally, I just tell him my Steam name, and he finds it that way. Like, fine, we get in there. He floats in his army, he's playing Drakari, and as he's describing his army, the way he's describing his army is like, "Oh, these guys are gonna fuck you up."
That's why I want to start at the GT. I'm like, yeah, this Dread Knight, he's gonna fuck your mother.
It's like the most ridiculous. Like, if this thing gets in fucking combat with you, it'll kill you twice. Like, it'll put you back with it and kill you twice. Don't let it fucking touch you. That's what he was basically like saying. I'm like, all right, dude, like whatever. And then like we get into to explaining my army, and like as I start to explain, he's like talking over me. It's like, okay, you got this, you got this, you got this. Yeah, I know what your plan is. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, dude, I played Tau. I'm literally going to shoot you.
My
That's
plan
it. That is what they
is-
do.
Yeah. But like I could easily see this dude being somebody that like I go and like do a strat or something, and he's like, "Well, you didn't tell me about that." I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, because you fucking told me not to." You were just like, "I know what your plan is.
You
Let's
already
just
knew.
go." Yeah, like what? If you're gonna come in with that much confidence, like you're just gonna demolish me. And he's the type of guy that's like, "Yeah, I play Tau like all the time." He's like, "I do this every day, like all day." I'm like, "Yeah, you
You should get a
definitely
job, my dude.
you live at your mom's house." So he was having issues like loading something in. Something weird was happening with the map or something like that. He's like, "Yeah, I can't interact with my dice tray or something." You know, you have
Hey,
to. Yeah,
I
same.
know what that's like.
He's like, "Well, let me log out, load back in." He did that a couple times. And I was like, "Well, do you want to try hosting and we can just do it that way?" He's like kind of like mumbling, and then he just fucking leaves. Like he gets out of the chat, out of the game, leaves. And I'm like, "Oh, maybe he'll come back." He did not, and I'm so happy he didn't. I am so happy that he did not come back. I was like, "Thank God I don't have to play a game of 40K." I've never had that feeling before, but I was like, Jesus Christ. So there's the 40K drama, guys. Don't be an asshole. Don't cheat. It's really that fucking simple.
Yeah, man, that's why I'm so nervous at the GT for. It's just like blatantly cheating, and I just like not having like any idea.
Don't worry, Don. I'll just get done with my games really quickly, and I'll just come like watch over your games like a hawk.
Hey, man, I might have already lost like 0 to 100, or
It's
100 to 0. Depends the table I get, I guess.
I can't wait for you to like get Richard Siegler or something. A lot of the
Dude, if
guys.
I get Richard Siegler and it's like, listen, dude, this will be a good game.
I'm really just here to shake your hand. You can take the 100.
If I score more than 30 points on you, I consider this a victory.
Oh man, it's moral victory for sure. Yeah, I think one thing I will say that is going to be nerve wracking. It didn't happen to me at all at the GT last time, but it might if you get, especially if you get paired with higher players, they will bring chess clocks for you to play.
That's fine. I know my army.
Yeah, and the reason they do that, it makes total sense. If they're coming to win, they get screwed if they don't finish their rounds.
Yeah, makes sense.
So they're like, yeah, I want to get through this. So totally understandable. Yeah, that's the drama. That took up so much time, but I
Almost
hope
half the
you
episode.
hope you enjoyed it. I thought that was super interesting to hear about. Lots of bitching from me.
Yeah, I'll put a disclaimer. First half hour, skippable.
Just like this book.
Perfect segue. Yes. So last time we went ahead and reviewed The Purge. was the annoying ass word bearer sword that followed by now is the sigillite. Gavin wasn't a fan of this. I actually enjoyed it.
Well, let me tell you the synopsis of the sigillite real quick. 'Cause I'm about to blow your mind. Malcador sends a group of humans to save the Rosetta Stone. That's the story. There's nothing
That's
more
part
interesting
of
that
the
happened.
story.
Tell me the
I
maybe
literally find that part like the least interesting. The interesting part is so this human he gets approached by Malcador. He was like, "Tell me like how you felt," because they had a mission. It was to they got this casket and they expected there to be a weapon. Inside it was a stone, which we find is the Rosetta Stone.
Ooh.
But Malcador takes them down to this underground like facility underneath the palace, and he's walking him through, just telling him like kind of what's going on. Big E, fucking fighting some demons. And all what am I trying to do? I'm trying to preserve all of our fucking history because we're all probably gonna fucking die. And like, there's some like really cool shit in here. Like the fucking Bible is down here, which I thought was really cool. He's like, yeah, I've read that several times. You're never gonna build it. It is a no-no. We have
no.
like old like armors and stuff like that, and it's just really cool. Like he's just trying to like preserve history and like he's like holding like his own. He has like his own agenda basically, separate of the emperor's. And then we get to
I don't
like
trust
the whole time. There's like earthquakes happening. Finally, the human asks like, "What the fuck is that?" And he's like, "Oh, that's the Big E. Let me show you something." They go to these giant fucking doors, and there's some custodes hanging out of it that have pretty sure they got the shit kicked out of them. And he's like, "So, right there, that's the Immaterium. Biggie's in there fucking shit up, maybe dying. We don't know."
Oh, maybe I fell asleep for that part. I don't know.
But talks about that, and he starts talking about how this all happened because of Magnus and how they had like such like high expectations of Magnus and basically ruined everything for the Imperium.
Yeah, I mean we know that about Magnus. Magnus is
We do,
big
but
upsetting person.
it's cool like hearing that from other characters that you're like, "Man, Magnus, what the fuck, dude?"
Okay, but to be fair, okay, now Malcador does say that they made several mistakes
Yes.
in the process, which was kind of a cool part to me because mistake number one was how they dealt with Magnus. That was really dumb.
Yes.
I don't know what they were thinking or what their process was behind that. And it still hasn't explained that.
Yeah, I feel like what they should have done to have Magnus repent is bring him to Terra to fucking fight in the webway with the Thousand Suns, which we talked about that before.
Well, we talked about that as actually being what might have been the plan. But, Horus and Lehman Russ fucked it up. Like the Emperor did not send Lehman Russ to kill Magnus. We know that for sure.
No, but I don't think you should have sent Lehman at all.
Yeah, probably smart not to send.
It should have
Wow.
just been like,
What are you, like a next level planner over here?
It should have just been like, Magnus, I need you to come to Terra.
Okay.
I got shit to deal with till you get here.
We need to send someone to pick up Magnus. Should it be Mortarion? No, they hate each other. How about Lehman? Those guys are really good friends. They
Total BFFs.
they have literally never had any problems in the past.
No bad blood at all. Nakia was dumb.
Yeah. So many ridiculous things. I mean, they could have avoided the whole prospect. So yes, was Magnus a failure? Absolutely, but damn, it's definitely Malcador and the Emperor's fault.
Yes. But yeah, I don't think this one was actually that bad. I think it was cool seeing the underground, seeing Malcador taking things in his own hands that aren't just like stupid shit.
Yeah, that's what the theme of this book, reality, is. You're going to see a lot of the Knight Errants. You're going to see conversations of Malcador. that kind of stuff. It's supposed to be like Malkador fighting the Silent War, essentially, like what's behind the curtains of the actual battlefield, and it's kind of interesting.
You know, I think something I don't like about Malcolm is how secretive they make him.
Yeah,
Because that's what they do with the Emperor.
exactly.
We don't need two characters that are just fucking enigmas. I want
Yeah.
to give me one of them.
So much of the 40K storyline revolves around mystery that they basically plainly say is never going to be revealed, which is
It's just
so frustrating.
It's so dumb. Like
That
even in like religion, like God's the mystery. Jesus wasn't a fucking mystery.
Mhm. Yeah, I kind of wish that they would harp on that a little bit less. We see that really big in 40K, like where are the Primarchs? Very classic case of emergency thing over there. That's what that is. But you don't you don't know what's happening with Malkador. You don't know what's happening with the Emperor. You don't know what's happening with Alpharius. You don't know what's happening with the Cabal. There's so many like questions as to like what are people's intentions, motives, what's going on. They're like, well, we who knows? It's very frustrating. So I hope we get a little bit more. I don't think we're going to get more on Malkador, unfortunately. But I do think he is one character that they should have fleshed out more and been more open with.
Yeah, I don't understand why keep him secret.
Yeah. The Emperor's secrecy, I like it. I enjoy it. I love this like ambiguous nature of the Emperor. He appears differently to other people. He is one way and then the next he forgets things that he does. It's kind of like leaves so many speculations, and I love that, but it doesn't need to be that way with Malkador.
Yeah. Also, like going through the story because there's two sister silence stories. Just thinking like a bunch of sisters of silence just like sat around the Emperor. They just become fucking useless.
Yeah, I don't know. The Sisters of
Like
Silence are.
there's like they're supposed to be like right hand men to him and the custodes.
Yeah, I was thinking about this too because in Flight of Eisenstein, I don't know if we talked about this last weekend or not. The sisters were definitely around Malkador. Malkador was at the trial of Garo on their like fortress planet on the moon.
Yeah.
They didn't like
Also,
he wasn't freaking out, so I don't
even
know.
in this one of these stories, like Makador like stops a bullet from being shot, and he's like next to a sister of silence.
Yeah. So I guess if you're powerful enough of a psyker, it doesn't bother you, but I don't know. It's a little strange.
Also, why
Next
is
story.
98% women are sisters of silence?
I don't know
Or
why they made it
pariahs?
the
It's like
criteria.
there's only been one man pariah this whole time.
Has there? What was the man pariah?
I think the man. I think there was one, and I think it was a short story where the guy was like some like big shot's assistant.
Are you
The
sure?
Imperial Guard's assistant.
Hmm. I think pariahs are all females.
I was telling you, there was one guy, only
Hmm.
one that I can think of.
If you guys know of it, let us know. And if you know the reason why, let us know. I it might have something to do. See, it doesn't.
Vaginas are black holes.
Jesus Christ. That's definitely not where I was going with it, but hey, to each his own. What I'm thinking is like genetically, but that doesn't make any sense because the only like genetic uniqueness in your chromosomes is the Y chromosome. So, I mean, even males have the mitochondrial DNA. I don't know. It's just all kinds of weird stuff. So that was that story. What's the next one?
The next one is your favorite, I think. Wolf Hunt.
Oh, it's a terrible short story. It wasn't my favorite.
No. What happens at the end, I
Yeah.
think, is why it's your favorite.
So this short story is bullshit. The, what happened? This short story. I know what happened with this short story. Graham McNeil went into the office one day after he released the Outcast Dead, and you have Dan and ADB, probably Dan. Just I could definitely imagine just Dan being like, "Hey, well, what the fuck?"
You fucked up the timeline? Ah,
No,
shit. You
let me.
wrote this timeline, by the way.
Yeah, you wrote the Thousand Suns, and you also wrote Galaxy in Flames. not Galaxy of Flames.
False Gods.
False Gods. Like all of it's taking place under your umbrella. And he's like, oh fuck. All right, I'll fix this. I'll fix this.
And it's the most like bullshit way.
So ridiculous. It's
So-
so ridiculous.
If you remember from the synopsis, this is about Severin trying to escape Terra, and Yagasina is trying to capture him. Yagasina is a great fucking character, by the way.
Yes. They're literally the capturing part. Not even interesting. It literally is like he tracks him down and almost kills him. That is the story. That is, it's not that complex. It's nothing crazy happens. There's nothing like, we can't even go much further into detail because there is not a lot of detail to go around. The funny part is the like last page of this story.
Literally the last page.
When Malcador shows up and is like, "Oh, we're gonna take Severin," and it's like, okay, well, I guess that's how Severin. It did talk a little bit about Severin being a psyker because
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, Severin's a psyker. So I don't know when this book was released.
It's even better because like Severin's a psyker, he just doesn't know it yet, and he doesn't know it yet because of Magnus, and he's like, Agostino's like, Magnus happened like last week.
Yeah.
And that's when we get the fucking timeline fixed. So he's like, oh, Mac was like, no. Magnus was 2 years ago. He's like, what? Yeah, man, like the fucking the hill thing, they've been just holding all that energy for 2 years and it just blew up.
Which literally makes
Damn.
no sense. Like if you think about it, you think like Rogel Dorn was in you have his reaction and everything to Magnus being the blowing up of Magnus's energy in Outcast Dead. And Rogaldor was like, what the fuck? Like, he would not be that mind blown.
If you knew it was gonna happen.
And I feel like that's not something you keep from Rogel Dorn, who's trying to fortify a planet. Like, oh, by the way, there's like a big psychic bomb that could go off any minute.
Not only that, but like he knows, I'm pretty sure in the Outcast Dead that they sent Lehman Russ.
Lehman Russ. Yeah, so it still doesn't make sense because they didn't send Lehman Russ till after. And
2
we
years
know
later?
that Lehman Russ was before. So it was just so silly. But it was funny because like basically they took a couple stories, all written by Graham, or a few stories. They were like, none of this is adding up. Severin's a psyker for some reason in this one story, which was a prequel to Vengeful Spirit. Severin is in Vengeful Spirit. How did he even do that? And Magnus happened like way before the other stuff happened. He's like, okay. Yasuki chases Severin down an alleyway and puts a knife to his throat. Magnus shows up, or sorry, Magnus. Malgador shows up, fixes timeline, says Severin's a psyker, takes him under employment. Okay, well, I guess now everything's fixed.
Shit, guys. Sorry, I was drinking when I wrote Outcast Dead.
Here's the fix. Wow, what a ridiculous story. It's so silly. Like, oh man. And
Like, if this would have been like attached to like the end of Outcast Dead, like it would have been like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
But dude, this book is like 30 later.
I'd
There's
really
no
like,
fucking way that was thought about until he was like, fuck.
I'd love to look at like the release order.
It was probably writing Fury of Magnus or something. It was like, fuck. I don't
What
think
is
so.
this? Wolf Hunt Graham. Let's see here. Wolf Hunt came out in February 2014.
I am pretty sure Outcast Dead would have been like 2005.
2011.
Okay, so that took him 3 years.
3 years. He was like, all right. I wonder.
What book came out in 2014 that he wrote?
So Vengeful Spirit came out in 2014.
Yeah, okay, it's adding up.
So he was like, fuck, I gotta fix this real quick. It's literally like he went to go write Vengeful Spirit. He's got 17 short stories on the planning board. He's like, oh, I can use this as a really great opportunity to fix the problem. Oh, that is too good.
Like the meme from Always Sunny with all the fucking lines and
Exactly.
the
Okay. If we do this short story here, Severin's gonna be a psyker, but he doesn't know it yet because Magnus exploded 2 years ago.
And this guy's fucking his sister. We got to make sure we write a short story about this. This is super
all
important,
comes
guys.
full circle. All comes full circle.
Turns out Severin is the child of the two, and he got sent back in time, and then became a Luna Wolf.
It all is gonna make sense. Trust me. Oh, there's a short story for that. Okay, so that was Wolf Hunt.
Next one is Army of One. This is the
I don't remember. Army of One. It was probably a really long one. Do you remember?
look at. Actually, it was very short. It's like 6 pages. Oh, this is this like it was the one about the Eversor.
Oh, okay, yeah. This was like so silly.
It was like, why was this even written?
Yeah, so they have like a 6-page little thing about how this Evasaur assassin was sent to kill people on a planet that turned traitor.
That was
That
actually all
that's
8 pages.
and it was one of those short stories that was like so descriptive in their adjective use that is how long it took them to say that.
The Eversor has big and bulky and sexy and strong and powerful and
Sexy.
crushes rocks with hands.
His sexy hands. They were so
Yes, his
big.
fingernails were perfectly cut, but man, his body is just being pushed with fucking vitamins and other shit, stimulants. So much cocaine.
He had 13,000 strands of hair skewed to the left. So that was that one. That was Army of One.
Yep.
I don't even know what else to say about it. Like it just kind of talks about him. Not even
big
it doesn't.
and strong and sexy.
It doesn't even like go into like what he's doing there. I mean, obviously he's
It was
killing
just randomly
things.
like, I only listen to Malcador. You are enemy of Malcador. I kill you because Malcador is my man.
And then I hunted him down slowly, and then also fast, but slow fast. And then they died.
And like the first thing he's like supposed to kill is like, I am loyal, and he's like, but not to the Imperium. Oh, smash!
Yeah, basically. That was it.
Yeah, that was a weird one. Next one. This was a kind of interesting one. Gates of Terra.
Is this the one?
The Ultramarine.
Oh, yeah. This shit's so stupid. Uh, oh. Somebody needs to check this because there's an interesting thing in this. But yeah, so we'll go into it a little bit. Ultramarine is guarding the solar system with a few ships, right?
I was on Terra, pretty sure.
No, he's in like a asteroid belt.
Sure. I thought this was like Terra was actually being attacked. That's why it's called the Gates of Terra.
I don't think so. I think this is in like an asteroid belt area because doesn't the vengeful spirit show up?
Eventual Spirit does show up, yeah.
Yeah. At least that's what I thought. Because I'm pretty sure like he's commanding ships.
But I think like at first, but he's like on the planet.
Well, I know he's on the planet.
Given orders from Dorn.
To do what?
Defend, fight, conquer, not die.
Is he? Is he? So it's important to know whether or not he's like on Terra or in space, I guess, because I think it's kind of silly. Because the idea that they put like 20 ships in space, I'm like, you just lost 20 ships. Like you should just put all of your ships in one area and say good fucking luck. This idea of like, well, let's send a few out to that asteroid belt. Like they because Dorn's going through like, yeah, I've been through all these simulations of this fight in this asteroid belt and we lose every time. I'm like, then why are you having the battle? Like that sounds like a terrible idea. But anyway, we have this ultramarine that is he is defending something against the Luna Wolves. The Luna Wolves and a bunch of demons come and attack, and he fights them and he dies, but he doesn't really die, does he?
No. He wakes up to a librarian. And then Malcador's like, hey, we're seeing if you were loyal or not. And then Dorn's like, and then he talks to Dorn. He's like, run it again. I don't know if it's loyal enough. Run it again.
It's so stupid, yeah.
And
So
it's just
basically,
like a whole fucking like chamber of like a bunch of them.
I'm assuming that this is the Crusader host. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me.
This dude's name is also Arcadaisy, which is the dumbest name.
Okay, so they're at the Ardent Reef, which is an encircling ring of gun bastions and asteroid bases.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't understand the concept behind defending. So basically what's happening is Dorn's trying to decide whether or not this person is the person to send to the asteroid belt. But he's like being interrogated in his mind to like simulate it. And I think he's part of the Crusader host. I think Dorn's trying to figure out who in the Crusader host is loyal, which I think is really silly. So he one thing that's brought up though is McIntyre's like, yeah, none of this was real. Also, this thing you did on this planet with the salamander, that wasn't real either. I'm pretty fucking sure that that was the short story. Do you remember that short story with the ultramarine and the salamander that are? Do you remember the story with the ultramarine salamander that go and fight? I think that that's like what he's referring to, as in like that never actually happened.
I just pulled up his name. Hold on. Oh. You're right.
So that was not a thing. That short story did not actually exist.
Yo,
What
that's
this?
fucked.
I know. So
That's
what
super fucked.
I
That's the most
know.
fucked up thing. That
So
was like,
this
actually a good story.
it was a good story. So what I think that this book is trying to do, and it's so annoying, is revisit some of those older stories and clarify various things. This is like a tie in. Like let's tie the knot on some of this random shit that's out there. And that was like, okay, well, what's going to happen to that ultramarine after the salamander died? We made it like a big deal. Oh, well, none of that actually happened. He's being tortured by Dorn to figure out if he should go die on an asteroid belt.
The most Dorn thing possible.
I'm like, what the fuck kind of story is this? And you know, Dorn's like, run it again. And it's so funny to me, like I was saying, Dorn is like thinking of no matter who I send to command that, we constantly lose that battle. I'm like, then why the fuck are you having it?
You know, my guess would be because in your simulation, Horus shows up with the fucking vengeful spirit.
Let's alter the simulation. Let's first start with like 2 ships that aren't giant ones.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe send your fucking flagship, Dorn. What the fuck's it doing?
Yeah, where's the phalanx at? So yeah, that was a weird one. That was a weird one to me. But yeah. All right, well, what's the next story?
The next one is Ghosts Seek Not.
This was an interesting one. The first part of
I
it
actually liked
was
it.
first part was incredibly boring. Second part, really interesting.
So what I liked about this is it's kind of turns into like almost like a murder mystery.
Yes, exactly. I like that. So this is just actually, so the first part I hated. I hated the first part. I couldn't fucking stand it. So let me tell you why. First thing, this story is about the Death Guard that are on the moon that Garo left. I don't fucking care. Like, why?
Well,
There's
I'm
like,
pretty sure later on too, Garo also doesn't care.
yeah, and like, I'm just so confused by why we're concerned about these X random Death Guard that were never even mentioned. All of the Death Guard that were actually mentioned by name in um, Flight of Eisenstein are dead, except for Garo. So
A 70.
is it 70?
70. It was a
God, they
calling
just
them.
keep changing that number, I guess. I don't know.
The
So
12.
this picks out two of
So we're
them.
down to the 68.
The 68. More short stories to come on these 68 Space Marines. But not only that, Sister of Silence shows up. Now, this was so fucking annoying to me. If you remember, James Swallow wrote the short story about the Sisters of Silence that went to go track down some sort of like other
Another Sister Silent ship
that was being
that was lost in the.
to Psychers in the warp, yeah. And one of the sisters at the very end, only two survived, and one of them broke her vow of silence and was like, I've got a new master now. And it very much so heavily implied that it was Horus.
But it wasn't.
It was Malkador. It was like, this is the thing I'm talking about. It was so frustrating with this book. It's like the exact same thing that happened in the last two stories. Somebody was like, hey, do you remember that story with the Sister of Silence? What's her deal? Like, when is she going to be a thing with Horus? And people were like, I don't know how to make that happen. So let's revert, make her instead, it was Malkador.
Reverse.
Yeah, so actually, she's still loyal, but to Malkador. Oh, phew, okay, we can do that. Who are we going to pair up with? Let's put her with some of the random Death Guard that we have just lying around. And we can make a short story. So that beginning part was so fucking stupid, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was kind of a slow lead up.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but it got cool though, because like their whole thing was like, okay, go to this planet because we picked up an astropathic message that is trying to be sent to. Like, okay, I can get behind this.
Mm-hmm.
And it got cool. They fucking go down. They meet the governor of the fucking place, and like the whole place of just like pompous bitches. And of course, the leader is a fat piece of shit because you got to keep the stereotype alive.
Yeah,
And
they do like several. They're basically investigating the signal, right? They think there's somebody in this astropathic choir or something like that who is sending messages to Horus, so something along those lines.
yeah, and remember that we have supposedly traitor, and she's coming down with Death Guard, which
Two
all
Death
know
Guard.
currently Traitor Legion. So they meet the governor and tell him like, "Hey, we're going on investigations." Oh yeah, no problem. You have nothing. There's no way anyone would do that here. And then fucking like, what are like 2 pages later, other fucking people get killed in a car accident, and they're like, okay, that's fuck. There's no fucking way.
This book, this is so frustrating to me. Think about this process, right? Dorn is interrogating people on what they do with salamander friends. And the Sisters of Silence are like, we have nobody to take to this planet in order to make sure they're not siding with Horus.
Well, it
And
wasn't
it's
such a silence. It was Malkador that sent her.
yeah, but I mean, like Malkador is also interrogating random people on what they do with salamander friends and on an asteroid belt. But they're like, yeah, we can't spare anybody. So they take the Death Guard, who is a traitor legion, right, on a mission to figure out if this planet is traitor. First thing I would do, first thing, is send the traitors down and see what they do.
Yeah.
They didn't do that. They decided full scale mystery. And for some reason, they only brought two. Why? I don't know.
More
There's
than
fucking.
that would be so conspicuous.
It would be so strange to have more Death Guard, I guess. I don't know. That was like a reason that they had. And then on top of that,
Death Guard are very private people.
yeah, they talk a lot about how they hate other legions and the Emperor pretty vocally, I feel like. But yeah, they just like it was just such a weird concept behind what they were trying to do and the way they went about doing it. I think it was very strange.
Yeah. So they're going through their investigation. After the one guy gets killed, they start investigating his death, and lo and behold, he was looking at something, and that was the fucking astropath tower. I don't fucking know. Skyscraper for
The Astropath skyscraper.
the CEO's in there. So they're start
Welcome to the
investigating there.
skyscraper.
And the fucking Mariah's in there, and she was just like making everyone just uncomfortable.
That was pretty fun. Having the
Yeah.
pariah go into the Astropathic choir and they're all like puking.
Yeah, they're like, all
Cussing
like
them.
hiding in corners. I will fucking get closer to you. And like, no, please don't get closer. Anything but that. And fucking there's like an explosion that happens, and they see somebody running off with a fucking astropath in their hands. Like,
I love the threat. The threat is so funny where they're like, there's no one here that's done anything wrong. You need to leave. And she's like, I will come back every day. I won't even do anything. I'm just gonna fucking stand here every day. And they're like, oh my God.
please, anything but
No,
that.
Jesus.
That's how you stay out of the office. You just threaten to be there every fucking day.
I will literally come every day.
I will not shower the whole fucking week. You want to make me come in? Well, this is what you fucking get. But they go on a fucking high speed chase for this astropath, and guess what happens to the astropath? Yes, Gavin.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thought you were waiting for the audience to respond.
Yes, audience, tell me. I cannot hear you. You must speak louder.
Yeah, he gets killed by was it like the police?
Yeah, the warden, the
The
main
warden.
warden.
Very conspicuous that he just so happened to be there.
Yeah, like a bunch of fucking like. So as they're chasing him, they chase him through this giant warehouse that they open the doors and there's a giant fucking Eye of Horus in there, and they're like, "Fuck you!" And they start just fucking shooting the shit out of all of them. Like, we love Horus. Like, oh, okay. Then yeah, the fucking warden comes, shoots the astropath. And he's like, "Oh yeah, that was a bad building."
Good thing I was here in this very conspicuous building.
Yes, in my 35 planes. Don't ask how we knew you would be here. That'd be weird.
Strange.
And they go back to the
Coincidence.
governor, and the governor's like, "Oh shit, you found him? Well, let's fucking have a world fucking celebration. Holy
Big
shit.
party. Hell
Like,
yeah.
whoa, that's fucked up."
Yeah. It
And
turns out. Yeah,
I
go ahead.
just really love how they're like, should have been conspicuous of this whole thing. Was like, yeah, no fucking shit.
Yeah.
You don't celebrate something that tiny.
Yeah, it's very weird. I think what ended up happening, obviously, is this was a big coup. The idea was that the planetary governor was going to be like, oh, you killed the traitors. All right, head out. Turns out they're all traitors. Every
Literally the whole
single
planet.
planet is a traitor. So the rest of the book is really just them kind of going down, figuring that out, getting the
Yes.
reveal from, which we get like the coolest Space Marine death I think we've ever gotten.
Oh yeah, that was fucking cool. So the Death Guard, who's the hothead, he is literally just like in a crowd, unarmored, and just gets fucking mobbed to death.
Hundreds of people. He's like slaughtering them with his hands and his bolt gun, just ripping them to shreds.
Yeah,
And
like
just
he even has like this internal monologue. Like, they said Space Marines were the 100 men, and he's like, how many more till they kill me?
yeah.
And then like you like pan like the next page is like, and he is made of mush now.
He's it was 116 was the right answer. So they escaped the planet after realizing that the planet was evil, or the entire population was traitor. And you get this really cool moment where the sister is like, Exterminatus.
And it's like, you know what? I have Malcador's approval to be Malcador. Fuck it.
Yeah. It's a really cool part in this story because Exterminatus is a pretty important thing in the lore of 40K. You know, you have the Inquisition going around, blowing up planets, and everyone's like, well, after thousands of years of corruption, the Inquisition got evil. And I'm like, really? This has been about two. She's blowing up planets. The Inquisition hasn't even been established, but this is like the seeds of the Inquisition. So I don't buy into the whole, well, Malvador was a good guy. It's all the stuff he put in place got corrupted over the years. And I'm like, I don't know. It kind of seems like it was pretty shitty from the start.
Although, I mean, she kind of had a good point, right? Like, they can attempt to run. You get the Terra to send a message. That gives them time. Or they find the biggest ship with the biggest guns.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that it was a bad idea. I just think it's interesting that they brought in Exterminatus so early on. I thought it was cool.
And a cool thing, too, was like, even like the Death Guard was like, what? Only
That's fucked up.
like, I mean, like my Primarch hasn't even done that. He's a fucking weirdo.
He's like the worst.
He sucks gas. It's weird.
Literally sucks on gas. I don't know why.
Got a big old gas dick that he's always sucking on. It's
Okay. Don't know where we got.
I
down
spent too
into
much
the
time in
gas
Dallas.
All right.
Yeah, we got past that hour mark and things get weird.
Oh, we're past the hour mark now?
Yeah, and you went on your rant for like 45 minutes.
Jesus Christ. I feel terrible. Do we want to cover another one? We want to end it here. We still got quite a bit of story to cover, so we definitely won't be done today. And
Yeah, I mean, next one's Templar, which is kind of a long one.
yeah, good point.
So yeah, that's basically the first half of Silent War.
It's definitely
don't hate it.
over the first half. It's
But yeah, I
probably
mean, Sigilite, Wolfhunt, and Army of One make up like. This book is actually bigger than I thought.
yes. I know.
Like I was reading last night, laying in like my hotel bed. I was like, okay, I gotta get like. I was reading on the Kindle. I was like, all right, as long as I have about 2 hours for my flight, like I'm good. And I like looked last night, like 9 o'clock, and I 200 more pages. Well, that's too many pages for 2 hours. Fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a lot longer than I anticipated because every single story I'm getting is like an hour long. I'm like, how the fuck are they doing that?
Yep.
How come every story is an hour long? You're fitting 20 some stories in there.
Yeah, it's painful.
Yeah. Short story dilemma and the Horus Heresy is a rough one. The anthologies.
Definitely burned out on them.
Yep.
So,
We'll finish this up next week.
yeah, we'll finish up next week. We'll start. We may go into some random BS, or we may not. I don't know. We'll see how next week goes.
Next Warhammer rant we have, I think I would like to talk about some things we want to see in 10th edition because I think it is coming around the corner in the next few months. So yeah.
Yeah. We should probably. We'll talk after you. All right. So that's it, guys. We'll be back next week. Remember to get your bids in for the giveaway. That'll be in like 5 more episodes. I think this is number 95. Just gotta interact with us. Hit us up on Discord. Go to the Twitter. You can always tweet at us, DM us as well. Tips are enabled there. Discord is pinned to that at Heresy Lodge. Email us at theheresylodge@gmail.com. YouTube, like, subscribe, leave a comment. Those are all the things. You guys have a good one.